Ho ho! Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. How do you like that one? All right, guys. Got one for you today. Let's talk about fear. Fear. Wow, that's interesting, huh? You know, a lot of us live in this state of fear. And we don't even really know that we're living in a state of fear. Let me explain it real quick. So when you think about something, whether it's skydiving or getting on a ladder, if you're scared of heights, if you're scared of walking in the hills because there's a mountain lion or possible mountain lion, or you're scared to something. So the fear lasts for about 10 seconds. And then what that's followed up by is a lot of anxiety. You get a lot of anxiety thinking about this over and over and over. Oh my God, what's gonna happen? I can't breathe. Okay, let me tell you something real quick. Over the years, I've learned to push that fear and anxiety out of my system real quick. If I'm afraid of something and I have a fear of it, and like I said, it only lasts a little bit. It's just that thought, that initial thought, and then all of a sudden you start getting anxiety, and then you know what? You shut down and you don't want to even deal with it anymore. That's not a healthy way of doing anything. And in fact, that will push you back even further than you were before that initial thought of fear and anxiety. So what I do is, let me give you a quick example. So where I run, and I've been told this, and I've seen these things out there. I don't like to talk about them because I don't want to get any energy to it. I don't know what that really means, but here's what I do. So there are, and has been, or maybe not, or will be, mountain lions out where I run. So every day I go run in these hills. True, there's a thought of possibly coming across one of these things, and that could be very scary. That could be fear-driven to not go run. And I can get anxiety over it if I sit here and think about it over and over and over. Now think about this. If I were to let that fear control my life, I would never go run these hills. I would run the roads. I would go do other things to set that fear aside and all that anxiety, because it's not worth me dealing with it. So let's hypothetically, I did that. I'm not going to run the hills because of whatever. I mean, it could be like 5 pit bulls loose that got out of their house and I'm a dead man. So every single day I go run the road and not in the hills because I'm afraid. I will be thinking about how big of a wuss I am, not going out and really running the hills like I should be, like I really want to. So there, I'm letting fear control my life. And that's not a healthy way to live. Honestly, nowadays, I don't really care. I carry things with me, and I'm extremely confident in the fact that if I was confronted somehow, I'm going to put the thing down, and that's all there is to it. I'm not afraid of those things. And in fact, they should be afraid of me, because I'm the one who's going to kill them. They're not going to kill me. So that fear that you have of, say, driving in the snow, driving in the rain because the road is wet, or, I mean, whatever the case is, putting on a snowboard and going down the mountain fast, if you're afraid of that, what I recommend doing to conquer that fear once and for all, and listen, people have multiple fears. They're living in fear, especially Christians. You Christians better listen up, because you guys, so the Lord teaches us to not live in fear. During COVID, or the scamdemic, plandemic, yeah, YouTube, I said it. Christians were stuck in their home because they had a fear of dying. A real Christian, when you read Paul's letters, when you read Corinthians, Romans, Acts, when you read all of these books that Paul wrote, he didn't write Acts, but when you read Ephesians, all these books, he talks about how living in fear is not being a godly man. If you're a Christian and you're living in fear, then you don't really believe that the Lord is going to save you. That fear has consumed you, and you're not opening yourself up to the Lord. And he's asking you every day to let go of your fear and let it go. People were stuck in their homes during COVID, man. And you know, look at this guy on his phone driving. Yeah, that's what I do. Anyways, unbelievable. You know, people drive on their phones. They cause accidents and they get people killed. It pisses me off. Anyways, you're not letting the Lord in. And the Bible talks about fear. Even if you guys aren't Christians, dude, read the Bible. It talks about fear. Confront it. So if you're afraid to skydive, I'm not recommending you go skydive. I was afraid of heights one time in my life. And what I did is when I was in Hawaii, I skydived twice. And I wasn't a wreck the first time, but I was really nervous, man. I mean, I was like, and we were the last ones out of the plane. I'm like strapped to the front of this dude, and he's like, keep your head back. And because when I go out, if your head's forward and you jump out of the plane, your head's gonna whip back and snap the dude right in the chin. You're gonna knock him out. He's gonna be passed out. You don't know how to pull the cord, and you're both dead. So there were all these things going on. And I was fearful like that would happen. So I'm like checking myself. I'm like, okay, head back. And you know what? When we got out of the plane, we finally jumped out, and I was like, oh, here we go. When I finally got out, man, all that fear, all that anxiety had it like left me super quick. And I understood right then and there. And that was like this pivotal point in my life. That I wasn't gonna do that anymore. I wasn't gonna let the fear of something just consume me and not do it because I'm afraid. You see how that can control everybody? Now start thinking about it. You don't do it. You don't deal with the fear. It's gonna consume you, and you'll never deal with it. You're always gonna be afraid of it, and then you're always gonna be afraid of something else, and that it compounds into other things. And you're never going to ever deal with it. So they call them nervous Nellies. You're going to be nervous all the time. You're never going to confront anything. So what I recommend is right when you feel that initial fear, stop. Just stop. Stop. Do some breathing. Calm yourself down and tell yourself, you know what? This isn't going to be that big of a deal. I'm not going to die. Nothing's going to happen. I'm going to confront this fear, and I am going to conquer it. You need to start reinforcing this positive speak and talk in your mind while you're breathing. Because listen, also when that fear starts to hit you and that anxiety kicks in, what your veins in your body are doing is they're constricting and they're stressing you out. And it's unnecessary stress. You don't need to be dealing with that kind of stress. Look at this guy's on his phone too. Unbelievable. I have this bumper and I just want to smack people. I wish I was like exempt from accidents. Anyways, where was I? So that fear, what you got to do is you have to start talking to yourself and be positive. Listen, anything that you have, any fear that you have, listen, you're not going to die. You're not going to die, man. So what's the worst thing that can happen? Think about it. What's the worst thing that can happen? Now, with some people who are very fearful, a smart thing to do is obviously breathe. There's some breathing techniques out there that you can do, like the Wim Hof method. There's other breathing techniques that you can do to calm down. And like I was saying before, is your blood vessels, they tighten up and they create, you start to get tense and you start to stress, and things just get inevitably bad for you. And you don't want to live like that. That can cause migraines, that can cause overall health problems in the future. You don't want to live with high blood pressure. It causes high blood pressure. So there's ways to do things like some of you guys who are hyper stressed and hyper scared of everything, you got to start writing things down on paper. Like, okay, what is the consequence if I actually face my fear and follow through with what I know I need to do? What are the consequences of that? And the consequences 100% of the time will be, let's just say 99.9% of the time, will be, I will have conquered my fear and I will have gotten over what I was afraid of for all these years or all these months or whatever the case is. So if you're afraid of something, I highly recommend that you do what you're afraid of. You know, I don't know what it is. You know, I honestly, like, I don't really have any fears anymore. I live my life and I'm not afraid of whatever's out here. Look, I'm about to go out here. I'm not afraid of what's out there, man. I'm not. And one other thing too, man, is when you start to confront your fears, you start to gain this type of confidence that is like unmatched in your life that you've ever experienced ever before. And you'll start doing things that maybe you were afraid of before but didn't even know it. And you just start doing things in your life without that fear and that anxiety kicking in. And you don't even second guess things. You just start doing things. And honestly, that's the best way to do it. Now, you're going to obviously question some things once you start, you know, once you get rid of the fear and the anxiety, you'll start to move on. And sure, it's okay and healthy to question things, but don't think about it too long. When you start thinking about it, like I said, man, that anxiety starts to kick in. Like, oh no, man, I don't want to deal with that, man. That's just, oh gosh, that's just like too much. That right there means you're scared and you're afraid and you've got a fear of something. Don't live in fear, you guys. Don't. It holds people back from doing what they want to do in life. You know, when I first started this business back in 2013, my mom had passed away, and you know, I needed something to do in my life, and I don't know if I was really afraid of starting a business. I knew that it was very risky just because of the nature of this business. And I manufacture and sell ammunition. I dove right into it regardless. I just did it. And sure, there was definitely a little bit of fear there, but you know what? I got into it and I stuck with it. And you know what? I got really happy once I started doing it. So my recommendation is, like I said before, if you're nervous and scared about doing something, you know what? You got to go do it. You have to do it. Stop overthinking it. Overthinking is one of the plagues in this jacked up society that we're living in. Everybody sits there and overthinks everything. You overthinkers, all you're doing is wasting time and building anxiety, and it also creates being indecisive. If you can't decide on something, that's a decision. You're making a decision to not decide on something in your life. And look, like I said, man, it can hold you back. If I was too afraid to start this business, I would never have started this business. You know, I love supplying ammunition to people. And now it's just like, it just goes, you know? So, you know, you'll never reach anywhere, like the full potential that you have. You'll never get anywhere near that if you're afraid If you're very afraid, I mean, you might as well kiss all your dreams goodbye. That's why it's so important, man. You know, you don't want to be 85 years old one day going, man, I wish I would have, man, I wish I would have, I could have, man, if I could only have the opportunity again. Can you imagine what that feels like? That's a lot of people. And you know, we breed fear in this country. I know this is a little bit of a long video, but we breed that fear in this country. And it's no way to live. So if I can make that recommendation, get out there, live your life, and don't be afraid, man. Check the weather, fine, but don't be afraid to go drive in the snow. Go do it. Yeah, that's it, man. I mean, I wish there was a pill you could take, but there ain't no pill. It's called action. You're gonna need to act on what you're afraid of and just get out there, get after it. Stay tough, man. Stay dangerous. You don't want to be that guy, man. You don't want to be that guy. But be that guy who's out there conquering and teaching yourself things and building yourself, creating that confidence that is just bulletproof. All right. Anyways, all you guys are awesome. All you guys, I've always said this in my videos, you have tons and tons of potential to be the best this world has to offer. Every single person. It doesn't matter if you're missing legs, doesn't matter if you're missing your arms, you know, whatever. Every single person that's on this planet has the potential to do something great for others. Don't necessarily look at doing something great for yourself. Do things great for others, and that greatness will come to you. That's the way that it works. Ignore all the dumb people, all the negative people, the trash talkers, whoever they are. Get them out of your life. They're toxic. They will destroy you. And there's plenty of people out there that do that. So ignore those voices, man. Get out there, start crushing goals, and you know, start a little bit at a time. If you got to tiptoe, tiptoe. If you're the type of dude who's got this mentality of like, I'm just going to jump into it, bam, jump into it, get it done. That's all I can say, man. If you're scared of the water, get in the water, man. You don't need no booty. You don't need no, you know, little things on your arm to make you float, floaties. You don't need those. Get in the water. Go ski. Go live. We're meant to live here, man. We're not meant to be afraid of walking outside. Oh my God. Please stop. We're Americans. We need to be tough. And for the times coming, man, you better get tough and you better conquer those fears, because they will own you instead of you owning them. All right? I'm out. I'm going to go conquer these miles. See ya. Love all you guys. Later.